I know there's some people here who worked on the film, other than the two who are coming up. So can you stand, please, if you worked on the film, just so we have a say. Can we get a round of applause for everybody who worked on the film? I know there's a lot of people here, so I hope it was enjoyable seeing all your work. I know it was for me as well, so.
All right.
Ladies first. Birthday girl first.
So this movie was shot in 35 millimeter. So we went back to film after many years of not using it. When the digital era came in, the film went away. There are a lot of good things about film, and one of them, it looks better. This movie looked fantastic, I thought.
So good.
Thank you. Too. And the director of photography, his name was Chase Irvin. And Chase is a young cinematographer, one up and coming. And unfortunately, about 9 months ago, it was before we started this movie, he was in a horrible bicycle accident in New York. He was riding his bike on the Brooklyn Bridge, and somebody called him from behind, a buddy of his, and when he turned around, his knee got caught in one of the pillars of the thing and went head first. His family the doctors told his family when he finally made it to the hospital that they would be very lucky if Chase would end up walking and going to the bathroom on his own. And he came up with this story. So I think that it looked amazing. Also, Chase was the one who did
Blondie? Or no?
No.
What? Blonde?
Blonde.
Yeah.
Blonde. He was the lead blonde also.
Do you know why the choice was made to shoot this in film? I mean, because I think that's an important, in the 21st century.
What I gathered was, I was never told, but this was kind of a European concept. They wanted to look at more artistic or artsy than, I'm sorry to say this, a typical American movie.
Well, Nicholas is Swedish,
Yeah.
and is a commercial director, and I suspect over there they still shoot a lot of film, and he just wanted to shoot this on film for that very reason, because it has a better look, and it gives it a more intimate feel. Because another thing he did, which was interesting, I don't know that it came across really, but all of Bella's dialogue, the young lady, all her dialogue was recorded on analog tape. It wasn't recorded on digital, DIT, which is digital, or DAT, which is digital tape, because he wanted her voice to have a much warmer feel than it might otherwise have if it was recorded digitally. So I think it was just an aesthetic choice on the director's part.
Yeah, the other thing the good thing about film is that roll of film typically comes in 1,000 full rolls, and you can shoot at 24 frames per second. You can shoot only 11 minutes. So the fact that they have to cut and reset made everybody think more about the story they were getting to tell. They were, telling than, keep rolling until we run out of tape.
Yeah, well, that's why it's so interesting, because as an independent film and as a first feature film, to be able to get the money, to be able to, do all of that, and then be able to spend those extra funds on having the film.
And that cast.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm sure Ewan McGregor, as the executive producer, helped get some, shooting. We want to shoot on film, right? Do you want to talk about props at all? I mean, there's a lot going on props scenically in this movie, so.
There is, but a lot more than what you actually end up seeing on the film. That's one of the interesting things about the departments we work in, props, set dressing, is you do a lot of this work and then it never shows up on the screen. A big example, the biggest example probably, is that dinner scene at the very end. Okay, so Monica DeClay, my assistant there, who was at the bathroom, I think, when they said everybody stand up, Nicholas wanted a feast. He wanted, as he called it, a feast of death. So he wanted meats and vegetables and just stuff being torn up and people just shoving it into their mouths. And I know some of the background artists are here who shoved that stuff into their mouths. So they can relate to this. So we spent, at a rough estimate, $8,000 buying food and drink and cigars and cigarettes, fake cigars and cigarettes, to put on a screen. And they shot scenes of people digging in and cutting up and tossing it in their mouths. Anybody see any of that? Yeah, you saw a close-up of Ewan McGregor, great actor, had some great, great emotions, but that's what you saw.
Well, there was cigars.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely saw the cigars and the,
Oh, we saw the
cigarettes.
smoke.
And the smoke, yeah, smoke. So another example is the dinner scene between him and Bella. Again, we had a young lady of ours make a nice pot roast for us, and it was beautiful and succulent, and my husband made a beautiful wine label for that bottle of wine that you see there.
He says it looks beautiful, and you don't even see it.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't see any of that, but that's just the nature of the business. You do all the work, and some of it gets seen, some of it doesn't. One thing I am proud of is the knife in the back, because there was a lot of that, and we worked hard to make that work, to make it stick to his skin between me and wardrobe, in the rain, and it had to stay there and look good. And then when he pulls it out, we had to make that look like it was really coming out of his body instead of out of a piece of styrofoam, which is what it was coming out of. So magic secrets. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, that's just, there's a lot going on there. I could sit here all night and talk, but I'd end up boring people.
Well, I have one other question, and then I think if people have questions and anecdotes, so and this maybe other people in the audience who worked on the film can answer this question as well, but it was a question I wanted to ask Nicholas. Why is this shot in Charlotte? Because there is it's basically in a warehouse, the entire movie. And I'm just intrigued if anyone knows the answer to that question.
Does anyone? I want to say I knew at one time, but we shot this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, so I don't know that I can.
Incentives, money.
I mean, maybe, yeah, I don't know if it was the incentives. I don't know if someone, because a lot of times someone who's worked here before will say, hey, it's a great place with a great crew. I honestly don't. Does anybody else who worked on it? What's that?
Oh, yeah, Ewan's
Live locally.
right.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Ewan's parent-in-laws live nearby.
Ewan's family live nearby.
Okay.
So they have places to stay.
We actually shot like 3 minutes down the road on North Main.
Well, let's get some other questions and thoughts, and we'll get some microphones and people's, and we can talk more to each
Hi.
other.
Hey.
Okay, this is an embarrassing question. I don't know what that was about. Was
Well,
it
join the club, sister.
Dad? I don't know.
Well, basically it was about Ethan letting go of his mom. He could not deal with his mother's passing. So there, she wants this couch, and this couch actually is some kind of purgatory kind of thingy, when everybody helped the people to let the family member go.
I mean, that's sort of what I got out of it, that all of this was in his mind while he was at the funeral, and this was his way of sort of letting go and reconciling what happened. The couch at the end, I still don't get, but that's what I got out
Well, I
of the
think
bulk of the film.
The couch is just to let it go, all furniture, let it go. And basically, Marcus is God.
Yeah, Marcus is God, Marco's the devil.
Bella is one of the angels,
Yeah.
and they help David let go of mom.
Does that help?
Out of the 3 children, he's the youngest one. He's the one who always had all these feelings for mom and all these letters, want to get in touch with his brother and sister and all that. And so he could not let it go until he let go of the rope.
Oh, and speaking of those letters, there were 80 of them, and I hand addressed every one of them. That was a night.
I will say that is not a dumb question.
No,
However,
it's not.
because
that was a great
and that was literally at the premiere at TIFF. That was the first question that somebody asked in 1,000 seats. Was like, what was that? What did I just witness? And he gave a nice answer, and it's very similar to that. So yeah. Other thoughts, questions?
I just want to say I worked on it as well, and I still don't know what it's about. Like, I read the script 4 times while we were working on it. I worked in costumes, and
Oh yeah, maybe I should have read the script, that would have helped.
Sometimes it doesn't, so
No,
that's
it doesn't. I read it 4 times, it didn't help. It was very much a vision from the director, Nicholas, and you know, it turned out great. Like I was very excited to watch it.
And you said you worked costumes, is that correct? Wardrobe?
Yeah.
Okay, congratulations.
No, thanks.
Other thoughts, anecdotes, stories from the set? I don't know, you know, again, all right?
Zoe was in charge of first team, what we call the main actors.
Zoe was amazing.
Where's Zoe?
Zoe, get up.
Get up here, Zoe, you can tell some stories.
And Zoe was very much helping Ellen Burstyn to come around. And I believe it was Ellen's 90th birthday when we were shooting this thing.
Yes.
90th birthday.
Yes.
Yes. Oh.
And she was a sweetheart.
She was.
She was. I mean, everyone on the cast were absolute sweethearts, but Ellen especially, maybe because I was, wow, there's so many of you, was my main priority for the show, and then involved into the rest of the cast. I was not supposed to be on the full part of the film. I came in on day 2, and then I just kind of stayed. But no, a lot of really great moments and stories. This was a very fun film. I'm actually in it very briefly, which was not meant to happen, and I think costume saw a little bit more of me than you had wanted that day.
She was at the dinner.
I was at the dinner. It was very interesting and fun. I was out there at the 80s. She's like, we're just gonna put you in. It's like the second to last day, okay? We just think it'd be cool if you're in there with the cast. I'm like, I don't act. They're like, that's fine. We'll just go in, do it. You'll be in the background. I said, this is great. But on the day, it was this whole movement that got cut. They're like, you're gonna start here. Ewan's gonna go in. You're gonna grab the door, come behind, go over the dolly track, around the table, pick up a glass, go over to Laura and Reese, talk to them, mingle, 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 come back. And then that's your action. I said, oh shit. Could not, and then I'm getting really, really nervous, and then Ewan's just out there, he's doing his thing, he's like, all right. And I'm like, I can't do that, I can't. And he's like, just breathe, it'll be all right. And the moment we're like, okay, so you go in, then I go in, he's like, you've been here a million times before, you got this. And just as I'm like, I got this, I think it was actually you, Amber, that comes up to me in this like water weed thing you're pumping. It's like, it just rained right before this. Yeah. Just gonna soak you in water. I wasn't ready for that. Do you remember that night?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I mean, we spent a lot of those days wet. I mean, when Ellen did her scene where she was trying to fight off Ewan, we had her stunt double, Diane, step in. If anyone here has a grandmother, I don't think you would want your grandmother to be lying on the floor or tackled.
Although Ellen did a lot more than I would have expected,
Yes.
especially in the scene at the end on the
Yeah.
boat, the couch sailing out. She did a fair amount of that, which I was good on her. You know?
Yeah, she was with most of the day, every day.
While filming in Atlanta,
We're exorcists.
Oh yeah, she was working on The Exorcist too. Yeah.
Yeah.
flying back and forth.
Oh, and that orange scene, the peeled orange thing, that was that was another fun one. I
That
had
was
this.
all Ellen.
That was yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was
She did
that was
that.
yeah. That was me sitting there tracing out and cutting. I think we ended up 15 oranges so that they could do various. And again, a lot of it wasn't seen because they shot her doing the whole thing, and pulling it out. That was okay. Now pull it out. Okay, cut. Now put it back. Now pull it out. So it was 15 different oranges to make that scene happen. Gave their lives for this movie.
We have a question back here.
Okay.
Sorry if you guys already mentioned it and I was out for the beginning of the Q&A. I was reading an interview with the director and he said that he wrote like a 140-page document called the Storm Book. Could you elaborate, that he didn't share with the actors, could you elaborate on what that was or meant? I didn't understand it.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if it
We
was.
didn't either.
Yeah, I don't know if it was 140 pages. It was.
He said 140.
It was thick. It was basically his interpretation of how the story was supposed to go along. At the beginning was one part of the storm. It was like the beginning, the calm, and the clouds moving in, which is why you see clouds at the beginning of the movie. And then the second section was against some other thing that was going on. Again, 2 years ago, I briefly looked over it, but it was supposed to kind of show the crew his vision of how he saw this happening visually and other ways.
And I think in the beginning, if you, it didn't make sense, but that makes sense when you see the whole movie. In the beginning, when Ewan is walking, trying to get to his car to get his kids, you hear thunder in the background, but the sky is still blue. So that's the way he wanted to start, you know, say things are brewing, things are coming. So until the end of the movie, there was a storm.
But yeah, like Amber said, it you know, we're stupid Americans. It didn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense to us, but you know, Nicholas was great to work with, and he had a vision and he stuck to it. So I can't fault him for that.
I have two questions. One was I was just curious, like how many days shoot and just sort of like how the shoot went, and then the second question is kind of just about the Charlotte film scene. I would love to hear more about that.
All right, we shot Monday through Friday, and we shot about 5 weeks, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 25 days, and the stuff at the beach they shot in LA. That wasn't in Wilmington or anything. That was 3 days out in Los Angeles that none of us were.
We were not
Well,
part
some
of
of us. I mean, some of us that aren't here tonight were there, but none of us here were there for that.
They don't have palm trees in Wilmington?
Yeah, exactly. And as far as the shoot itself, it was. I mean, I can't speak for Monica or anybody else. It was tough. I mean, Nicholas is a good director, but he's a very demanding director. He's very appreciative when he gets what he wants, but he knows what he wants and he's going to get it.
He pushes people.
Yeah, he pushes people, and he ended up, you know, being full disclosure, I almost quit day 2 because he pissed me off so bad. But the producers talked me off the ledge, and I came back, and I would now work with him again, knowing what he's like and what he's looking for. I would work with him again because he did ultimately make me be a better prop master and just a better crew person in general. So from that perspective, it was great. But on the days when we're on hour 14 and you want to take that fake knife and jam it in someone's eye, it's a little different.
Oh, where's that neck wrap?
Oh, the neck wrap. Thanks, Amber. That was a scene that was actually cut. The opening scene you see where he's walking towards the furniture store. There was a scene that they shot with Ellen and Reese and him walking her to the store. Well, it was what, 32, 33 degrees out that day?
So
Yeah, it was cold and windy. And of course, Ellen was freezing because you saw what she was wearing. She was wearing basically nothing.
Right.
So Nicholas's idea to warm her up was, well, we'll get a neck brace. At least that'll keep her neck warm. Paul, get a neck brace. Okay, and we're in Mooresville? Gastonia. We just did what, 20 weeks in Mooresville, so I've got Mooresville on the brain. So yeah, we're in Gastonia. Okay, it's like, okay, where's a CVS or a Walgreens? So thankfully there was one about 5 minutes away, and Monica, hold the set. I ran my ass down there in a car. Actually, one of the drivers took me, ran in, grabbed a couple of them, ran back. Nicholas picked one. We dirtied him up. He didn't like the way we dirtied him up, so we gave him the wardrobe. They dirtied him up, made him look much better. Put it on her so that they could do that scene. What did you see? You saw her taking it off in the first 5 seconds you see.
Exactly.
And you're like, well, why did she even have that on? Well, that's why.
One thing I'd like to point out was when they went to the mom's house, the way you saw the mom's house is the way the house was.
Oh yeah, that was not set decoration.
Yeah, they said that when they went to scout it, they went to the house and said, oh my God, this is the house, it's nothing to be moved. I think you have to look for the dresser.
Yeah, the dresser that we ended up using we found.
Yeah, but everything else in the house was an old house, overpacked, tons of old things.
We found it, but we found it at that house, because remember, I had to get the key. The key that you see, that big important key,
Yep. That's
the owner wanted that back. He didn't want us to keep that key, so I had to make resin copies. So 90% of the key you see there is plastic. It's not a metal key. It's because but yeah, that was from the house, but then we took it to the other house to actually do the thing.
What's the house in Charlotte too?
It's also Franklin.
The house is Gastonia.
Franklin in Gastonia.
Yeah, it's also Gastonia.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you were asking about the Charlotte film scene, I mean, it's getting ready to pop up, apparently. There are 2 movies coming in. Someone just told me there's a 3rd movie coming in. I just found out about. So yeah, it's, I mean, it was dead there for a little while, obviously with the strikes and the IA, which we all just ratified our agreement. So there's, the IATSE's not gonna strike now. So thank God. So hopefully work will start rolling in. And yeah, it sounds like there's gonna be 3 films coming
Yeah,
in.
and
So
there
we're
was-
gonna be busy.
The worst part is when it rains pours, because all of them wanted to shoot at the same time.
Yeah.
2 of them in the middle of September, and the other one in the beginning of October. So as far as I know, there are big names actors coming in, and one of them is going to be shooting film. I have my interview on Monday. Fingers crossed. So we'll see. Maybe when we have election, it's election year, so hopefully we can keep somebody that can keep
Our film incentives.
supporting our film incentives and not let them go away.
I'm glad you said it, because I was gonna say it.
Because one thing that I wrote letters to everybody in the government, but one thing that the film incentive brings, and the film brings to the community, it's not only work for us that we do this for a living, but it has such a long arms, you know. I remember when we were doing Homeland, we had this lady that with her family had a coffee truck. Thursdays, every Friday we have that coffee truck on set. You know, by the end of the day, we're so grateful to have something warm to drink or something to wake us up. And once the film incentive went away, those people went away too. They couldn't afford to be in business anymore. So those dog sitters or dog walkers, babysitters, cleaning people, Airbnbs, this is police officers out of duty. There's it goes so far.
Well, like I said, we spent $8,000 on food, which
Exactly.
wouldn't have been spent to small business.
Exactly.
That's probably the most they had made in 6 months, maybe.
So that's why they try to
Yeah.
bring back.
Yeah, we kept Sleepy Poet in business that month, because most of that stuff was from them, props.
Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you, everyone. Monica, Paul, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone else who worked on the film. All right, okay. Feel free to hang out, talk amongst yourselves, but thanks, everyone. Appreciate you.